In the dead of night, when the silence is deafening and shadows hide secrets, a horrifying truth is about to shatter a quiet town. Imagine, just for a moment, that the person you trusted most could be hiding a dark, deadly secret. On an ordinary evening in Hamilton, Ohio, everything changed. In less than a heartbeat, a vibrant life was extinguished in a way that sent shockwaves through an entire community. Who could have done such an unspeakable act, and why? Join us as we unravel a case that dives deep into the murky world of betrayal, jealousy, and deception. A case where every clue hints at a betrayal, so profound it cuts to the very core of trust. This isn't just another story. It's a journey into the darkness lurking in plain sight. Within the pages of a hidden diary and the cryptic messages left behind, the truth lies buried, waiting to be discovered. What did Cheryl Durkin know? What did she fear? And what drove someone so close to her to commit an act of unspeakable violence? As the clock ticks, every second draws us closer to the shocking revelation. A truth that will make you question everything you thought you knew about trust and loyalty. Prepare to witness a mystery where nothing is as it seems, and every moment pulses with the dread of the unknown. Stay tuned, because in the next few minutes, we will expose a chilling tale of murder, betrayal, and a twist that defies logic. Are you ready to step into the darkness? Cheryl Durkin was more than just a resident of Hamilton, Ohio. She was a soul that lit up every room she entered. Growing up in a small town, Cheryl was known for her contagious laughter, her empathetic nature, and her unwavering dedication to those she loved. From a young age, she dreamed of making a mark on the world, of using her kindness and talent to bring people together. Her early years were spent in a humble home, where every corner held memories of long summer evenings, family dinners, and dreams whispered into the night. Friends remembered her as a vibrant presence, a ray of hope in even the darkest times. Cheryl's warmth was legendary, and her genuine smile could mend a broken heart. Yet, beneath that bright exterior, there were quiet moments of introspection, hints of struggles that she kept hidden behind a mask of strength. Behind the laughter and the light, Cheryl was a complex tapestry of dreams and hidden fears. She had ambitions that stretched beyond the familiar streets of Hamilton, a longing to explore, to change, and to embrace every facet of life. But in the confines of her modest apartment, she was also searching for a sense of belonging, a feeling that she could trust someone implicitly, someone who would stand by her side through every trial. Cheryl's apartment was on the edge of a quiet neighborhood in Hamilton, a building that, at first glance, seemed perfectly ordinary. The exterior, with its weathered brick and narrow windows, exuded a sense of nostalgia and a promise of familiarity. Inside, the apartment was a mosaic of cherished memories. Photographs lined the walls, mementos from trips abroad rested on shelves, and the aroma of home-cooked meals lingered in every corner. Yet, there was an undeniable, unspoken edge to the space, a coldness that crept in on quiet nights, an eerie stillness that contradicted the warmth of its contents. Every object told a story. Every shadow whispered secrets of a past that was not entirely forgotten. The apartment was both a sanctuary and a silent witness to the complexities of human relationships, a stage where laughter, love, and hidden resentments all converged. It was here, in this seemingly benign environment, that the seeds of betrayal and sorrow were sown. The very walls that once embraced Cheryl's joy were about to bear witness to a darkness that would forever change the fabric of this home. On a cold, crisp autumn evening, the ordinary turned into the extraordinary. Neighbors recall that night as one of unsettling quiet, a silence so complete it was almost palpable. The hours ticked by, heavy with an unspoken foreboding that no one could quite place. Then, as if a switch had been flipped, an event occurred that shattered the calm and sent shockwaves throughout the community. It began with a series of subtle, almost imperceptible signs: a knock on the door at an odd hour, whispered arguments that escalated into desperate shouts, and the unsettling feeling that something was terribly amiss. In that fleeting span of minutes, the familiar apartment transformed into a scene of chaos and terror. The once comforting hum of daily life was replaced by a cacophony of fear and betrayal. Neighbors would later speak of a sudden commotion, a frantic energy that defied the peaceful norms of the community. And then the unthinkable happened. A life, so vibrant and full of promise, was abruptly and brutally taken away. The echo of that fateful night still reverberates in the silent halls of that apartment, a haunting reminder that in the blink of an eye, everything can change. In the quiet aftermath, as the first light of dawn crept over Hamilton, the community was forced to confront an unimaginable truth. The life that had so effortlessly illuminated every corner of that space was gone, snuffed out by an act of betrayal that would leave scars lasting a lifetime. Who could have committed such a heinous act? And more disturbingly, what dark secret had driven someone so close to her to do the unthinkable? Join us as we follow the mystery of Cheryl Durkin's final moments, exploring the subtle clues and the haunting details that hint at a betrayal far deeper than anyone ever imagined. The journey into this dark tale is just beginning. As dawn broke over Hamilton, investigators arrived at the scene, a place that had once been filled with warmth and laughter, now transformed into a chilling tableau of chaos. The apartment, shrouded in the eerie silence of early morning, stood as a mute testament to a violent disruption that had forever altered its history. Every detail mattered: the position of a toppled chair, the way a beloved family photograph lay face down on the floor, even the unusual placement of a shattered vase. All of these elements combined to form the first clues of what had transpired that night. Forensic experts meticulously documented each fragment of evidence, knowing that even the smallest detail could unravel the truth behind the unthinkable act. Blood spatter analysis revealed a frantic struggle, suggesting that Cheryl had fought desperately in her final moments. Yet there was something more, a deliberate, almost ritualistic arrangement of evidence that hinted at a deeper, more personal motive. The investigators were faced with a perplexing scene, one that defied simple explanations and beckoned them to dig deeper into the dark corners of human emotion. Back at the forensic lab, specialists began piecing together the fragments of evidence that had been painstakingly gathered from the scene. Every smudge of a fingerprint, every stray hair, and each trace of blood was cataloged in a systematic effort to rebuild the events of that fatal night. The timeline was crucial. Digital records from security cameras and mobile devices painted a picture of escalating tension. Surveillance footage captured moments of unusual activity. A figure seen entering the building just minutes before the commotion, a shadow lurking at the periphery of the scene. And then there were the forensic details. A set of fingerprints that did not belong to Cheryl, fibers matching those from a specific piece of clothing, and even traces of an uncommon cologne lingering in the air. Each piece of evidence told a part of the story. The forensic puzzle began to hint at a connection that was as personal as it was premeditated. There were no signs of forced entry, only evidence that suggested the perpetrator was someone who knew the layout, someone who was, in fact, trusted. Slowly, the investigators started drawing lines between the physical evidence and a narrative of betrayal that would soon take a shocking turn. As the investigation advanced, the human element emerged from the shadows. Neighbors, friends, and even acquaintances were compelled to share their memories. Recollections that, until that moment, had been dismissed as insignificant details of everyday life. Now, every whispered conversation and every subtle hint was re-examined in the light of a newfound horror. One of her friends said, "I always sensed something was off." Cheryl mentioned little things, a strained look, a half-hearted smile, when she spoke of her roommate. At the time, I brushed it off. Now, I can't shake the feeling that those small moments were pieces of a puzzle we all overlooked. These personal accounts began to reveal an undercurrent of jealousy and unspoken grievances. Witnesses described subtle changes in behavior, a roommate's sudden defensiveness, hushed arguments overheard in the corridor, and a pervasive sense of unease that grew over weeks. In one particularly harrowing confession, a neighbor recalled hearing desperate whispers through a cracked door, words that hinted at deep-seated resentment and an inability to let go of past betrayals. Each testimony added layers to the mystery. In the collective narrative, a pattern began to emerge, one where trust was broken, secrets were harbored, and the true nature of human relationships was laid bare. It was as if every voice, every tear, and every trembling admission was calling out for justice on behalf of a life cut tragically short. Beyond the physical evidence and emotional confessions, a more modern trail was left behind, a trail of digital footprints that would prove indispensable in the investigation. In today's interconnected world, our smartphones and social media profiles reveal more about us than we might ever imagine. For Cheryl, these digital records became the silent witnesses of a troubled relationship. Text messages, emails, and social media exchanges were retrieved, each a digital breadcrumb pointing toward a growing storm of hostility. Heated messages exchanged late at night, posts laden with sarcasm and veiled threats, and digital timestamps that corroborated the timeline from the crime scene all began to paint a picture of escalating tension. It was a virtual diary of conflict, a series of interactions that revealed a narrative of jealousy and betrayal long simmering beneath the surface. In one striking instance, investigators uncovered a series of messages that detailed an argument so intense that even the digital records could hardly contain its fury. These messages, raw and unedited, offered chilling insights into the emotional turmoil that plagued Cheryl's inner circle. Every ping, every notification, served as a reminder that the seeds of this tragedy were sown not in isolation, but in the interconnected lives of those around her. The trail of digital footprints not only bolstered the physical evidence, but also revealed the invisible threads that connected the victim to her betrayer. With each revelation, the investigators inched closer to understanding the true magnitude of the betrayal, a betrayal that would soon shake the community to its very core. As the investigators piece together the shards of evidence, the puzzle begins to form a disturbing narrative of deceit and hidden motives. Join us in the next chapter as we explore the shocking twist that turned the investigation on its head, revealing truths that no one could have ever imagined. Just when the investigation seemed to be converging on a straightforward narrative of betrayal, an unexpected discovery sent shockwaves through the case. Deep in the recesses of Cheryl's personal belongings, investigators uncovered a hidden diary, its pages filled with confessions, coded messages, and a history of emotional turmoil that no one had ever suspected. This diary was no ordinary journal. Each entry, penned in hurried, jagged handwriting, chronicled not just Cheryl's dreams and aspirations, but also hints of betrayals and a pervasive sense of dread. It revealed that beneath the veneer of her cheerful existence, there was an undercurrent of despair, a secret that could shatter everything if brought to light. As the pages unfolded, a pattern emerged. Cheryl had documented subtle but persistent conflicts with someone she once trusted implicitly, her roommate. But these weren't mere disagreements over mundane issues. They were battles of emotions, laced with jealousy, bitterness, and a deep-seated fear of abandonment. It became clear that the motive was not a sudden fit of rage, but a gradual, corrosive buildup of resentment that had festered over time. Then came the twist that turned the entire investigation on its head. While the diary initially pointed toward a simple case of domestic strife, a closer look at the digital evidence revealed an unexpected connection. A series of clandestine communications between Cheryl and an unknown third party, someone with a stake far more personal than anyone had imagined. These digital footprints were startling. Late-night messages, clandestine emails, and social media posts that never seemed to fit into Cheryl's otherwise bright persona began to weave a complex tapestry of betrayal. The records revealed that this mysterious correspondent wasn't an outsider at all, but a person deeply embedded in Cheryl's life. A trusted friend, a confidant whose motives were now shrouded in ambiguity. As investigators dug deeper, they discovered that this hidden relationship was marked by intense emotional exchanges, a dynamic fraught with envy, secrets, and a desperate need for validation. What was initially perceived as a minor detail had blossomed into a central piece of the puzzle. This revelation forced everyone to question, how could someone so close to Cheryl harbor such dark intentions? And what was the true nature of this forbidden bond? In the wake of these explosive discoveries, the investigation reached a fever pitch. Confrontation was inevitable. Law enforcement arranged a discreet meeting with the prime suspect, Cheryl's longtime roommate, whose outward calm had masked a seething undercurrent of jealousy and guilt. The meeting was set in a nondescript location, far from prying eyes, where every word carried the weight of unspoken confessions. In that charged atmosphere, the suspect was forced to confront the unthinkable. As questions were posed, the carefully constructed facade of normalcy began to break apart, revealing cracks filled with remorse and fear. With each reluctant admission, it became apparent that the roommate had not only known of the hidden digital communications and the diary's cryptic entries, but had actively contributed to the growing cycle of betrayal. The confrontation was raw, emotional, a collision of past regrets and present horrors. The truth was finally laid bare. The very person who had shared Cheryl's daily life, who had been a constant presence in her moments of vulnerability, was the architect of her final, tragic fate. It was a betrayal of trust so profound that it defied comprehension. A slow, calculated buildup of resentment that had erupted in a single devastating act. The confrontation not only shattered the last remnants of innocence, but also forced the community to face a stark, painful reality. Sometimes the monsters we fear most wear the faces of those we love. As the shock of this revelation reverberates through the investigation, the stage is set for the final chapter, a reckoning that will determine whether justice can truly be served for Cheryl Durkin. In the next phase, we step into the courtroom drama, where the full impact of betrayal and deception will be laid bare, and the ultimate question remains: can the truth heal the scars of such an unforgivable act? As the investigation moved from dark alleys and hidden digital trails to the stark, unforgiving light of the courtroom, the community braced itself for a trial that promised to unearth every painful detail. Every piece of evidence, every emotional testimony was now to be examined before the full scrutiny of the law. The trial unfolded like a high-stakes drama. Witnesses took the stand, their voices trembling as they recounted the night's harrowing events. Forensic experts detailed the meticulous work that linked the crime scene to the suspect, a trusted roommate whose carefully guarded secrets were now exposed for all to see. Each testimony, each piece of physical and digital evidence, wove together a narrative that was as compelling as it was heartbreaking. In that charged atmosphere, every word mattered. The courtroom became a battleground where the forces of truth and deception clashed, and where the final verdict would decide whether justice could mend the shattered fragments of a once peaceful life. After weeks of intense scrutiny and emotional revelations, the moment of reckoning finally arrived. The jury's decision, steeped in the weight of evidence and the raw testimonies of those left behind, was delivered in a hushed tone that resonated like a final, resounding heartbeat. The verdict, though legally conclusive, did little to erase the pain of loss. In the eyes of many, justice had been served, but the underlying questions remained. Could any punishment truly restore the life that was so brutally extinguished? And in a case marred by betrayal and secrets, was there truly a resolution? Or were there still shadows that lingered long after the gavel fell? In a trial where every detail was laid bare and every emotion was on display, the legal system delivered its final word. Yet, for those who had known Cheryl, the verdict was only a small step towards healing, a reminder that sometimes the scars of betrayal remain even after justice is done. Cheryl Durkin's story did not end with a courtroom decision. It left a legacy etched into the very soul of the community. The aftermath of the trial was a complex tapestry of relief, sorrow, and unanswered questions that continued to haunt the hearts of those who had once known her light. Across Hamilton, whispered conversations about the case became a part of everyday life. Memorials were set up in her honor, each candle and bouquet a silent testament to a life that deserved more than the tragic end it met. Yet, as the community tried to rebuild, the echoes of that fateful night served as a constant reminder of how fragile trust can be, and how deeply the betrayal of a single soul can ripple through an entire town. While the legal battle concluded with a verdict, the emotional journey was far from over. The haunting legacy of Cheryl's untimely demise continued to spark debates, foster introspection, and fuel a collective determination to prevent such tragedies from ever repeating. In every whispered memory and every tear shed, there was a promise to honor her memory by seeking truth, nurturing trust, and remembering that even in the darkest moments, the quest for justice is a light that must never be extinguished. As we close the final chapter on Cheryl Durkin's tragic story, we are left with more questions than answers. The echoes of betrayal, the weight of unspoken secrets, and the lingering scars of a community forever changed remind us that true justice is not just about the verdict. It's about healing, understanding, and never forgetting. In the aftermath of such deep betrayal, we must ask ourselves, how can we rebuild trust in a world where those closest to us may hide dark truths? Cheryl's story challenges us to confront the uncomfortable realities of human nature and to strive for a future where empathy and vigilance go hand in hand. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think truly happened that night? And how can communities begin to heal from such a betrayal? Share your theories, reflections, and any personal experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you found this investigation as thought-provoking as we did. And subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the mysteries that keep us awake at night. Your voice is crucial in unraveling the truth. Join the conversation and help us shine a light on the darkness.